Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan and today I'm going to be ranking the best NHL prospect on each NHL team. Now with the NHL season being in full chaos mode and the 2020 NHL draft might not even be happening until as late as August, I wanted to get my rankings out there for the number one prospect for every team right now in 2020. I wanted to waste zero time. So, who do I see as the best prospects right now in hockey? And who do I see as the number one prospect for each and every NHL team? Watch till the end for all my picks and rankings, and of course hit that big red subscribe button if you're new. But just like my other one through every team videos, we're going to start out with the Anaheim Ducks and work our way to the Winnipeg Jets. And for my top Ducks prospect right now in 2020, I'm going to go with Trevor Zegras. Now the center who was drafted 9th overall back in the 2019 NHL draft had a great year in the NCAA. 36 points in 33 games, a supreme playmaker. And if I'm going to pick anybody to be an offensive superstar in not too long and be a leader of the group in Anaheim, to me, that is Trevor Zegras, and I think he will be that in just a few years' time. But now going on to the Arizona Coyotes and their best prospect in 2020, I'm going to go with Barrett Hayton. Now, honorable mention to Victor Soderstrom, but Hayton is very good in my opinion and is the number one guy. Got 12 points in 7 World Junior games, played 20 NHL games this year, and also got 5 points in 5 AHL games. Not bad whatsoever. And to me, Barrett Hayton can be potentially a number one center for Arizona if they develop him right. And a top 3 center core of him, Nick Schmaltz, and Christian Dvorak, I think would be pretty solid for Arizona. Now speaking of solid young centers, we now go to the Boston Bruins and their best prospect, and to me it is Jack Studnicka. If there's been any prospect that has been completely changing my mind over the past year, it has been Studnicka. Last year he only got 49 points in 30 games, which in his OHL year for his age was not all too impressive, but this year in the AHL just leveled up his play, got 49 points in 60 AHL games, which for his age is very, very good. Studnicka, I think, can be a very solid middle six, potentially even top 6 guy for Boston if developed right, but that's a guy that is beaming with talent, especially in the offensive end. Now we're just going to continue the trend of centers, and going on to the Buffalo Sabres, their best prospect in my opinion is Dylan Cozens. Now Dylan Cozens had a very successful WHL year, 85 points in 51 games, and also in the World Juniors got the gold medal, but also got 9 points in 7 games, not bad whatsoever. Now going on to the Calgary Flames and their best prospect right now, I am going to go with Juuso Välimäki. Now Dylan Dubé has also graduated from prospect status to me, so Välimäki will be my second choice. The problem with him, though, is that he played 0 hockey games throughout the whole season due to a torn ACL. That is not going to be easy to overcome, but still, when it comes to top-end talent and top-end potential, Välimäki is one of the better defensive prospects in the league, and at age 20 can be a serviceable NHL defenseman at the very least, which, considering his offensive upside, is very nice to have. But now going on to the Carolina Hurricanes and their best prospect, to me it is Jake Bean. Now Jake Bean is a very solid defensive prospect, to me one of the best in the NHL. Put up 48 points in 59 games this year as a 21-year-old defenseman, which is absolutely insane. But I also didn't want to discredit a lot of the other Canes prospects because there are so many other fantastic ones. Ryan Suzuki, Jamison Reese, Dominic Bach, Patrick Pistola, Dominic Fenzori, and Tony Honka. There is so much quality to choose from in Carolina system, but Jake Bean to me is the top, at least right now. But now going on to my least favorite team, the Chicago Blackhawks and their best prospect. Their prospect pool is kind of wonky right now, but I will end up choosing Ian Mitchell. Now you have Kirby Dach, who graduated into NHL status in my opinion. Same thing with Adam Boquist. So they don't really have too many big time options, again, unless you count a guy like Dominic Kubalik as a prospect, which I personally do not. Ian Mitchell to me is the best option though in their prospect pool. Got 32 points in 36 NCAA games, which for a 20-year-old defenseman is super impressive. Now going on to the Colorado Avalanche and their best prospect right now, I am going to choose Bowen Byram. Now Alex Newhook is absolutely insane, but in terms of high-end potential, to me the pick is still Byram. And just having Byram and Newhook in the same prospect pool is just unfair. Come on, like, save some prospects for the rest of us, Colorado. My goodness. But Bowen Byram has supreme defensive skills. Took a little bit of a step back, in my opinion, in parts throughout the WHL season, but ended pretty strong. And now going on to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who in my opinion have a pretty even playing field when it comes to prospects, but my pick will end up being Liam Foudy. Now, Liam Foudy is very solid, getting 68 points, my mistakes, in 45 OHL games this year, and was able to play 2 NHL games, getting 1 assist. Also got 4 points in 7 games for Team Canada at this year's World Juniors. But I also wanted to honorable mention a few guys here. Vyvolinin in the goaltending, some solid Russian prospects like Marchenko, who I think will be good NHL players. But Liam Foudy just has a certain upside to him when it comes to skating and some skill that I think will translate to the NHL level. And now going on to my favorite team, the Dallas Stars, and with their best prospect right now in their pool, I went with Thomas Harley. Now, Jason Robertson is really close, and he's having an absolutely insane AHL season. But Harley, just like the other pick, in my opinion, like Liam Foudy, the upside is almost too good to pass up. Harley was just under a point per game in the OHL as a defenseman, 57 points in 59 games played. He'll likely be on the World Juniors team next season, and for me, Harley is a guy who can be a top 4 defenseman for Dallas. It developed right. And now going on to the Detroit Red Wings, one of the better prospect pools in the NHL, and to me, their number 1 prospect is Moritz Seider. Now, Moritz Seider, in my opinion, is one of the best prospects out there, not just defensively, but in the entire NHL, making some big improvements from his draft year. Now, in the AHL, he was able to play 49 games as his main home with the Griffins, got 2 goals, 20 assists for 22 points, which for an 18-year-old defenseman is kind of insane. And we're just sticking with the defenseman train just like I like it. Going to the Edmonton Oilers, and their best prospect, in my opinion, is Evan Bouchard. Now, Kailer Yamamoto will be very interesting at this spot, but he has put over my threshold of prospects of 35 games played, so at this point, he has passed that threshold. But Evan Bouchard last year in the AHL got 36 points in 54 games, which for a 19/20-year-old defenseman is very good to see. Now, they have a great AHL team, so it's no wonder why, but Bouchard is a guy who offensively I think can be very good. But now going on to the Florida Panthers, and one of the only goaltenders, if not the only goaltender in this list, that being Spencer Knight. Now, Florida definitely has one of the more underrated prospect pools, but Spencer Knight has a very solid future ahead of him. Had a .931 save percentage in his first NCAA season. And although goaltenders are always wonky to project, Spencer Knight definitely, in terms of talent, is one of the best we've seen of the last decade. Now going on to the LA Kings, in my opinion, the best prospect pool in the entire NHL. To me, their number 1 prospect is Alex Turcotte. Now the 5th overall pick, forgive me, in the 2019 NHL draft, had himself a pretty solid season in the NCAA, 26 points in 29 games for Wisconsin, had a relatively disappointing World Juniors, only 2 points in 5 games, but next year I think Turcotte will be a beast. But hey, we're going to go on to a guy who definitely is ready for that NHL time, on to the Minnesota Wild, and their best prospect, I have Kirill Kaprizov. To me, Kirill Kaprizov is one of the best prospects out there, and if he does come to North America, besides Lafreniere next year, to me, he is the Calder favorite. And again, come home, Kaprizov. Just make it be. Because even though I'm not a Minnesota Wild fan, yes, I kind of am deceiving you with the Wild jersey, Kaprizov is one of my favorite prospects of all time. I want to see him come over to the NHL, and if he does, I think he'll be a beast on day 1. Speaking of offensive tools, now going on to the Montreal Canadiens, and my pick being Cole Caulfield. Now, the Habs have one of the better prospect pools in the NHL, but Cole Caulfield definitely leads the pack. Got a point per game in the NCAA, 19 goals, 17 assists, 36 points in 36 games, and just overall was very great at that level. He won't likely be ready for the NHL next year, and it doesn't seem like he'll actually play in the NHL next year, which I think is definitely important. There is some work to be made outside of the puck on his tape. He's a guy, though, that offensively at his peak, I think can score 40 goals at the NHL level. But now going on to the Nashville Predators and their best prospect, I have Philip Tomasino. Now, Dante Fabro has already gone up to the NHL qualified status, but Tomasino is not a bad second option. He played 36 games in Niagara and 26 games with Oshawa, with Niagara got 57 points in the OHL, and with Oshawa got 43 points. Although it might take some time for Tomasino to get up to that great level, I think he's a guy who can be a top 6 center in the NHL someday, and playmaking-wise, is definitely one of the best prospects out there. Now going on to the New Jersey Devils, though, and their best prospect. Although there's a lot of solid guys right now, to me it is Ty Smith. In terms of pure elite two-way ability, there's not many defensemen out there that I think are on the level of Ty Smith right now, prospect-wise. I think New Jersey is in very good hands for him going in the future, and although I think they would definitely take another guy like Jamie Drysdale in the 2020 draft, Ty Smith by himself is still very, very good. Now going on to the New York Islanders and their best prospect, to me it is still Ilya Sorokin. Now Ilya Sorokin to me is one of the best goaltending prospects, but there is the issue on if he will actually come to North America. That is still up in the air right now, but to me in terms of raw talent, I think can be an NHL starter. Over the past 3 seasons, he's put up a .931, a .940, and a .935 save percentage in the KHL. The guy is a supreme goaltender, and right now is in his peak. If he were to go to the Islanders, I think will be great right off the bat. Now going on to the New York Rangers though, and although there was some great options to choose from here, right now as it stands, especially with Igor Shesterkin going up to, in my opinion, NHL graduation status, the next best option to me is Nils Lundkvist. Now I've been a pretty big fan of Lundkvist ever since the 2018 draft, but I did not expect this type of season from him. He got 45 games played and 31 points. One of the best seasons we've ever seen from a U20 SHL defenseman ever. That's the kind of company that Lundkvist is in. Now going on to the Ottawa Senators and their best prospect, I have Erik Brannstrom. Now a few months back, I did not have Erik Brannstrom as a prospect. I thought he graduated to the NHL level, and exactly when I said that almost, he got sent down to the AHL full time, and I think is more in the prospect status as it stands. Though in the AHL, he was able to get 23 points in 27 games, which for a guy that young is still super impressive. To me, alongside Thomas Chabot, Erik Brannstrom can be one of the defensemen of the future, and just pure offensive skill is just radiating from his body. But now going on to the Philadelphia Flyers, and speaking of offensive skills, I have Morgan Frost. Now Morgan Frost is going to turn 21 in May, but is still one of the best offensive prospects out there. 41 games played in the AHL this year and 29 points. And that is his first AHL year, pretty productive. Also with the Flyers in 20 games, got 7 points too. For a young player like that, especially a center, still very impressive numbers. Now going from Philly to the Pittsburgh Penguins though, and their best prospect, in my opinion, it is Samuel Poulin. Now Poulin is one of the very solid prospects to come out of the 2019 draft and had a very solid year in the QMJHL. 46 games played and 77 points. Compare that to last year where he got 76 points in 67 games. That's a pretty big upgrade in my opinion. And offense is what he does specialize in, but he's very creative, and with the puck skills, that's a player that I think will fit perfectly with Pittsburgh. Now going on to the San Jose Sharks, and one of the more weaker prospect pools in the entire NHL, and not having their first round pick does not help either. But coming in at number 1, I have Ryan Merkley. Now Ryan Merkley is one of the most divisive prospects out there for very good reason, but this year in the OHL was able to get 76 points in 60 OHL games with the London Knights. Still very impressive. And the offense is what Merkley does specialize in, and it is his bread and butter. Now going on to the defending Stanley Cup champions, the St. Louis Blues, and my pick will be Klim Kostin. Now Kostin is pretty much my second choice because Jordan Kyrou has just, in my opinion, graduated to NHL status, but Kostin is not a bad second option whatsoever. Last year in the AHL, 66 games played and 24 points, but then improved this year to 30 points in just 48 games. The progression is obviously there, and the offensive skills are there, and for St. Louis, I think can potentially be a top 6 winger. But now going on to the Tampa Bay Lightning and their best prospect, and honestly, I can name like 6 different guys because Tampa, in terms of even playing field, is absolutely insane when it comes to quantity over quality. But Cal Foote is my pick, and there is still a lot of quality here. Last year in 62 AHL games, or actually 76 AHL games, got 31 points. This year in 10 less, or about 14 less games, 62 games played actually, and 28 points. So about the same level of play, but still very, very good. Now going on to the Toronto Maple Leafs though, and their number 1 prospect, to me it is Rasmus Sandin. Now, I want to give an honorable mention to Nicholas Robertson. I wish I could put him here, but to me Sandin just has all the potential in the world to be a top 2 defenseman. Now in the AHL level, he played 21 games, getting 2 goals, 13 assists, and 15 points. Meanwhile, for the Leafs, got 8 points in 28 games with not too much minutes. And I think eventually Sandin will be a top 2 guy for Toronto. I think it will take some time. But now going on to the best Vancouver Canucks prospect, and my pick will go to Vasili Podkolzin. Now, I could just give the award to him and Nils Hoglander because they both deserve it, but Podkolzin does give the edge in my opinion. Being 18 years old throughout this whole KHL year and still putting up 8 points in 30 games, that is very solid, and he didn't even get that much ice time either. Podkolzin still has a ton of talent, and for Vancouver, guys like Elias Pettersson will fit right in. And now going on to the Vegas Golden Knights and their #1 prospect, and there are some pretty good options. Guys like Pavel Dorofeyev come to mind, but to me it is Peyton Krebs. Now it's good to note that Cody Glass has graduated in my opinion to NHL status, so Peyton Krebs is the next best option. 60 points in 38 games for the Winnipeg Ice. On a pretty solid offensive team, Peyton Krebs was a big part of that team. Had of course the injury earlier in the year and came back pretty strongly. And now going on to the Washington Capitals and their best prospect right now, it's gotta be Connor McMichael. Connor McMichael went from a guy who I think was like a second round prospect in terms of talent level last year to a guy who looked completely different this year and absolutely stupendous. 102 points in 52 games, also as a point per game in 7 games for Team Canada, the World Juniors. Not bad whatsoever. And Connor McMichael, he's still pretty good though, has changed a lot of minds as he should, and with the play he has, he might even be a top 6 guy for the future for Washington. Might not be able to find a spot like that as a center, but I think as a forward, has that potential and has that skill. And now, last but not least, with the Winnipeg Jets and their best prospect, I'm going to go with Ville Heinola. Now, between him and Kristen Vesalainen, the prospect pool for Winnipeg is very solid, but Heinola does give the edge for how much progress he made. He was very solid with Winnipeg in the games he played, also played 3 AHL games, but spent most of his time in the Liga getting 7 points, and also got 5 points in 7 games in the World Juniors, which for a player as young as he is very impressive. And when it comes to top line finish forwards, Heinola is definitely one of the best out there. But those are my picks for every NHL team's best prospect. Of course, with this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And make sure you comment down below your thoughts on my picks. What do you agree and disagree with? And who do you think is the best prospect on your favorite NHL team? Share this video with your friends, get this video out there and the rankings, boys. And click on this card to watch all of my hockey prospects goodness right in one playlist. My name is Nathan, and I'll see you guys next video or stream. Goodbye.